Okay. All right. Oops. I just kicked the tripod. That is never good. Okay. We're sitting here and I got 1,001 questions. See, I told you guys we were going to be back. And we needed to get a hands-on approach to what's going on. Because word on the street, a lot of people have been having some kooky symptoms and some weird anxieties. And they can't explain it. Ain't like you can go to the doctor or anything and get them to explain it. You know,
Good luck with that.
yeah, different strokes for different folks. Everything changes. Life changes. So, here's some things that came about. Remember the card reading? If you haven't seen the card video, go check that out. That was pretty cool. And that was a question for the world. Where are we headed? Word, cautionary note. Do not dabble in anything that you don't know what the hell you're doing. Some people have spent their lives and careers doing this. So the moral to the story is, you're not going to see me going to outer space anytime soon driving a space shuttle. Which means stay in your lane and learn progressively. It's in Revelations. The stars will tell you everything that's going down.
That's correct.
But what do I know? So, here's what got pulled from the questionnaires, and we took a consensus. We pulled everything together, and we found out here's some key questions and some things that was pulled up. So, quotes. And these were some things that we had to write down, and it was very, very intricate. Signs of the times. So I'm going to read it, and he's going to interpret it. Masculine and feminine energy into perfect balance by... Okay, yeah. Here, I'm going to let you do it. There you go. That's it right here.
So we're being called to merge the masculine and the feminine energy into a perfect balance. And that's by completing this wholeness for ourselves, we can leave the 3D materialistic desires behind us. And we're being blocked right now, right? Whee! The universe is literally blowing up behind us while we're talking about merging the masculine and the feminine.
In a perilous world.
This is a great example of living your truth while the world is literally burning down. And we heard the siren earlier, and Carlos is like, oh, that's okay, it just goes on all the time.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
okay. Well,
anyway, this is exactly the reality we're living in right now. Is chaos is everywhere around us, and it's about us looking backwards. We cannot relive history. We've done this over and over and over, and this is our point in time that we are going to evolve into the next dimension of understanding, and that is that we are timeless beings. Number one, we are energetic presence in this human form, living in this 3D reality. So we are going to be given that opportunity to lead the 3D reality by merging the feminine and the masculine. So what does that mean? The masculine we're talking about is not the toxic male, power struggles, fighting, stealing, robbing, looting, rioting. These are all the negative manifestations or toxic masculine. The divine masculine is using power in a way that can create, that can protect, that can achieve. We are going to the moon and beyond. We're going to Mars. So the next step in our evolution is into space. So we have to leave the Earth-based realities behind us.
stupid question.
Sure.
So here's a stupid question. So I'm sitting here looking through the eyes of the viewer. Stupid question. You said toxic masculine energy.
Yes.
So does that make all women saints?
No. Each one of us has masculine and feminine in us. So women have been chasing the masculine ideal for the last 20 years, and most of them are extremely unhappy because their ego-based desire is we can do anything a man can do, and they can. And we can do anything a female can do with the exception of creation.
I'm not
meaning
giving birth.
creating
I can
a birth.
create, but I ain't giving birth. I'm
Right.
gonna tell you that right now.
You know, the divine masculine is to protect that birthing process. So we are here to do that particular process.
So it's a balance. It must be a
It
balance
is
of the
seeking a
energies.
balance, but
Kind of like yin and yang.
sure. That's
If that's a good word to use,
That is
for people who don't quite know what's going on.
That shows you the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. That is the representative of yin and yang. Some people say yang, yang, however you want to say it. But
That's another show, brother.
I hear you. We can talk about yin yang.
No,
yang, yang,
really.
yin.
That little placard is another show.
Sure.
We'll talk about that later. Okay, so here's what else somebody wrote in.
Okay.
We had, when you guys write, people tweet. I'm on the streets, so I ask a lot of questions. I'm in the field. I'm a field agent, so people talk, and sometimes they're scared to talk. So I'll be the messenger. I'm the messenger, you know.
So communication is literally our way out of this entire reality, is to communicate, to see things in a new perspective. Listen to our neighbors, our siblings. Let's see things through their perspective. Actually sit on their porch and see their point of view before you dismiss it. Call them a racist, a xenophobic person, or any other negative energy we want to attach to something we're afraid of. This is what we're leaving behind for the next reality. So it is about us concentrating on connecting our mental processes. So our left brain is logic. This is the masculine. Our right brain is emotional. This is the feminine. So we will be merging our left and right brain so we can think in an emotional and logical manner at the same time, getting the best results. Because cold logic is not always the answer. You know, we do need to add emotion into this mix and recognize that emotion is what creates a lot of our reality. It also creates a lot of our problems when we don't understand emotion. So
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Because prior to previous videos, for those that's just tuning in, emotion, and you spoke of the emotional attachment to things and outcomes. The stars, how does that play upon? Because there's an old saying, if the moon can affect the water and the tides,
Sure.
wash in and wash out, higher and low, we're humans, and we do very much are made of water. I mean, it is what it is.
absolutely.
So how does that perspective play out?
Our emotions literally change on probably a 2 to 2.5 day basis. So the moon transverses each zodiacal sign in about 2 to 2.5 days. And when the moon is in that particular sign, it will take on those characteristics. So right now we're in Leo, the sign of Leo, which is creative energy, being a presence, speaking, performing, playing. This is about letting your inner child out so you can create, you can be in the spotlight and accept that we are here to create. And it's not about being the top of the heap, roaring that I'm king of the jungle. No, it's about playing with others, win-win situations as king of the jungle. So we can all play in the jungle. So our gift to the world is literally the capacity, our great capacity for love. And our kindness is only eclipsed by our hidden potential inside of us.
Question.
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You said the L word, love.
Yes,
now,
sir.
most folks that's tuning into this video, they're going to watch it and see it and be like, love. What does that love mean?
Well,
okay, so here's the question.
Sure.
Sitting here looking at the screen right now, just came in. Relationships. How has the relationships been affected in the year 2020? How has it from about March all the way up until presently time?
Sure.
We haven't even hit 2021. Can you give us a quick roundup? Because this has been a hot topic for everybody wants to know.
We are literally finishing up a 35-year cycle in relationships that started with the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto back in the sign of Libra. Yes, Libra relationships.
We talked the other night on podcast. 1983, was it?
Yes, sir.
Was it 83?
83 into 84.
Okay.
We started feeling this in 1982, but so we have gone through 35-year cycle of. It started out with the masculine. In the 80s was a strong masculine presence, big sports figures, Michael Jordan, boxing figures, Mike Tyson. You know, this was.
Don't leave out Hulk Hogan, brother.
Hulk Hogan, baby. Yeah, you wrestlers,
brother.
So yeah, WrestleMania. It was this for 10 to 15 years. It was all about the masculine, and then we switched to the feminine. The feminine being chasing the masculine. They were exploring all of their ability to do the masculine, and they could do it, and they did do it. So it was about each type experiencing a different viewpoint. So the feminine has been chasing the masculine for the last 15 or 20 years, and this is the cycle that is ending. So we also have ended a cycle where these two, Jupiter and Saturn, have been conjuncting in earth signs, meaning our earth-based desires. So relationships have been based on power, sex.
You said Jupiter and Saturn conjuncting.
Yes, Jupiter,
Okay.
Saturn.
Do you know when this started happening in 2020?
So January 12th was when there was 5 major planets in the sign of Capricorn. You had Mercury, you had Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and all of these basically said we're ending this old relationship cycle that we've done for the last 35 to 40 years. This has completed and wrapped up how we relate to each other. And we have to balance our own internal masculine and feminine and be whole ourselves before we can attract a partner that we can share a genuine creative experience without power struggles. So we're leaving power struggles behind. That's what's this next dimension is. We can all live in this divine masculine, divine feminine presence. And frankly, women have a lot of work to do to recognize their divine feminine because they've left that behind chasing the masculine. But they were chasing the toxic masculine. That's what's, it's like the world almost flipped up.
I know YouTube and Twitter, they hate when the person being interviewed keeps getting interrupted by somebody. No. I read word on the street. So I was going to make a joke about that.
You may make a joke.
No. Okay, so here's the joke.
You make it jokey.
So translation to all of y'all out there, we're going to put this in layman's terms. So check this out. He was born with a bloop bloop. She was born with a beep beep. So because of that, hey, look, check this out. If we get too much masculine or too much feminine, we're screwed.
Correct.
Because your car battery ain't going to work without a negative and a positive
That's
charge.
right.
Negative don't mean negative, but it's a yin and yang effect. It takes two to make it
That's
work.
right.
Duh.
Energy will not flow unless it's two going in the opposite direction.
However, until you can attract that perfect mate, you got to think like a worm, like big worm, like a worm. Because worms are hermaphroditic. I mean, they can pop off and make babies. They can bloop bloop each other and make babies. They can bloop themselves and make babies. You got to be comfortable in your own skin before you can attract some skin. Did I put?
that is the earthly way we would describe it, and this
Can't do that, y'all.
This is what we're leaving behind.
Layman terms.
Going into our higher mind, which is we can have sexual relationships without power struggles. Ooh. We don't have to explore sexual power dynamics anymore. We can explore sexual energy through equal exchange. This is where massive power lies. Yes.
Funny you say that. I cross-referenced an article many years ago about the honeymoon. Everybody look up that and find out what the honeymoon really is about. They refer to it as Gabriel Moon. The name changes throughout the course of years. However, find out, do some research. Get back to us about that, and we'll chit-chat about that later.
So it lends itself to a great point, and that is our entire reality is duality based, meaning feminine, masculine, positive, negative, dark, light, animalistic, spiritualistic. So this is all the things that we are going to work into balancing. So we do have to acknowledge, our animalistic desires, but we need to use our higher mind to keep those in check. Now we can use them and celebrate those in creative ways without power struggles, the old power struggles.
Well said. Ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
History is a mirror which our conscious use to judge itself in evolutionary terms. If the mirror does not reflect what we believe, the illusion is destroyed and written in our minds unless our consciousness can recognize that it, quotations, is what needs transforming. Here you go.
Yeah, this quote.
I had to concentrate on that one for a second.
This quote came to me about 2 in the morning, and it's so reflective of what's going on right now. And I'm going to read this again because it's that important. History is a mirror which our conscious uses to judge itself in evolutionary terms. So if we look into that mirror and it doesn't reflect what we believe, the illusion that was created is destroyed and rewritten in our minds. Unless we've evolved and recognized that it is what needs to transform, and it being our ego. So our ego is what created the illusion of history and how it should be rewritten if it doesn't suit our purposes. And that's literally what's happening now as history is being rewritten. It was frozen and now it's being rewritten because people are scared to evolve their consciousness. They're scared. They're literally scared, and they want to hang on to this old fear-based reality, which is you're a victim. You're not a creator. You are enslaved to your circumstances. So this is the things that we must evolve beyond, instead of retroactively changing how we got here and how we've evolved up to this particular point in time, because we are literally at the end of thousands and thousands of years of cycles of evolutionary growth. So this is the point in time where we kick off into the new future, or we go back to do it all over again. And frankly, I don't want to do that. So,
Got a question?
yeah, you got one more question coming from the cheap seats.
No. Yeah, the cheap seats. Because you don't see our faces. But we're rooting. So we all can win.
That's right.
All right, so here's a question.
Sure.
Based off of what was written in history and what came to you that morning, here's the question. We talked, and it was between the months of, I want to say it was maybe what, August, October?
Yeah.
There was an energy, and you were talking about the planets, and I had to take notes on this. That's why I said, screw this, we're doing video. I had to take notes. And taking the notes, during that time frame, August, September, starting in October, it was August, September, I remember you talked about planets and energy. And in the notes, it stated that, hey, look, we're transversing different energies. However, a lot of people are wanting to evolve, but don't go back to what you used to be.
That's right.
Basically, if you was a crap head, don't go back to that. Change and become a person that's a little bit better. However, it did speak of true colors and shows. Can you elaborate on that? That's important. This was about, what was it, August, September-ish? And it was getting us ready for what's going down in October.
That's right. So everybody's fear will be triggered no matter what. But your biggest fear, flight response, whatever it is, no matter who you are, all around this world will be triggered, and it will force you to transform, grow, or die. That's evolution.
And death don't mean bad, so don't get scared.
No. Death is literally...
That scares the hell out of certain people.
Sure. Death is
transition.
literally just going from the visible to the invisible. And it's still an energetic presence. So what we must do is let go of that fear. This is the animal part of ourselves we don't need anymore, because we're evolving into a space that our mind is unlimited. It's what we create in that space that is the future of humanity, and how we grow and where we grow to.
All right. Tough question time.
Okay.
We done narrowed it down. It came to you, and ironically, we're comparing notes. Today you've heard real stories behind the scenes from me and things. We do not believe in coincidence.
No.
There's no such thing.
Nope. Synchronicity.
Go look up what Albert Einstein said about coincidence and the anonymity of our Creator. Another story.
The
Question
word
one.
coincide. Think about that. Coincide. Yeah. So co is together. So these events come together inside, meaning our internal self brought the coincidence, made it happen.
Self-realization to a degree?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So self-realization is simply you living in your true self, meaning you're not guided by your ego personality or what those personalities desire, or you're afraid of being judged by. These are things that have no meaning anymore. They literally are falling away.
So basically, in order for everybody to get their crap together, they got to shed their egos.
We have to transform our ego, which means it will no longer have power over us, because it's literally this little tiny mechanism in our mind that projects out this, this illusionary reality that we create.
You know what a person once told me? They once said that ego will set you up for failure
Absolutely.
quicker than anybody, and even, here it comes, yourself.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, that's poignant. That's really poignant.
And that lends itself to our ego, is what Rit had conceived history to be. We followed the facts and threads of history, and that was creating our consciousness. Now, if we erase that, how will we keep that string of consciousness alive? It disappears. Yeah, and we lost that evolutionary knowledge.
Sounds like it already happened before on this planet. That's another story.
That's what's under attack right now.
That's another video.
Sure.
Your revelations and word on the street. People talking, people talk, people transfer messages, and it's like, we just talked about this yesterday. How did 3 people say this before, or this person said this first, but you're hearing the same thing, and it's not negative? By the way, relationship does not mean romance, everybody. It means how you gravitate and how you work. There's a relationship between you and planet Earth. You and your job. You and whatever you do.
This cigar and I are having a relationship right now, and it's a very nice one. So relationships are with everything.